end, because I was planning to do this presentation in the end of the day, but it's a good thing to start right now with this, because it will give us some hints that we will have to search for inside the thesis that we will evaluate all together. So mainly, what I want to give you some basic hints of some good practices when you are implementing your dissertation. So you have to make sure that you will spend enough time for writing your thesis, because the thesis, it has the implementation part where you collect data, you conduct question surveys and so on, but you have to make sure that you will have the time for the writing. Try to write when your mind is fresh. This will help you to go through less times through the document. You will make less mistakes. Find a regular writing place for you. Set goals always in order to achieve. So now I have to work on this area, then later on you work on something else, so you will have some goals that will help you to be organized and keep the timing good as well. Of course, you're going to use word processor and generate a plan of your report before you start writing, and of course ask for help from friends and colleagues that they will be able or they will spend the time to read through your text, and they can give you some nice comments. If you do it among colleagues, as you are right now, it will be even better, because the feedback is going to be valuable. We have two types of documents. We have academic report, like the master thesis, and we have consultancy report or business reports, which are more from the professional side. So in the academic report, usually we have longer documents, and we will be marked from, usually we expect that somebody will give us a mark, and of course it contains contextual descriptions over there. And the consultancy reports, where you can consider the business plan like one of them, is not exactly the same thing, but you can keep this, let's say, vision behind it. It is less focused on the development of theory, contains recommendations and information which is related to the business. The main points, you have to consider that you will say the story clearly. Try to make sure that what you describe there, it will be clear to the reader. Divide your work into sections, previewing and summarizing chapters in the beginning. So every chapter, it's a very nice thing to have a small introduction in the chapter. You understand it? So each chapter can have a very small introduction. In this chapter, we're going to investigate this and this and this tasks. Reviewing and summarizing the chapter in the end, saying that in this chapter, try to be specific, not too verbal. Using suitable tables and graphics, we know very well. We say that one figure, maybe it's 1,000 words. So figures, yes, please. Yes. There are two cases. There are figures that you might have to use it because they are ready in a book, on internet, or anywhere like that. Over there, we will see that you just have to reference this. So this figure is coming from that source, and that's okay for you. Yes. Now, the difficult thing is that figures that others did is not always very good for us. They don't fit 100% for us. Please come in. It means that you may have to make some figures for yourself. Mainly, charts are very important. So charts, they can come from data that you already developed by yourself. And you can have also some tables, usually, which are also yours. But you can also reference to a table which is coming, let's say, from a financial source where it has some data, some numbers which are important. And you have to write in a suitable style. This is not easy when English is not your, let's say, native language, but try to do yourself and ask from some people to revise and refine your document. The key points that we have to be careful is clarity and simplicity, and we avoid jargon, checking grammar and spelling, preserving the anonymity, and regularly revising each draft that you prepare. Writing is a creative process and a powerful way to clarify your thinking. This is very important. Usually when you cannot really put on lines what you think, usually what is in your head is not clear. That's why you are not able to write about it. So writing about something is helping us a lot to understand that we really understand what we are talking about. A project report needs a clear structure that helps to develop the storyline. So everything that we do in the project, we will have to put it inside this document. And this document is going to be the proof of the work that we have done. All the information should be readily accessible to the reader. So the reader, it is a good thing not to have questions and should not miss information from your text. For some of you that you just come, I said that I start from the end. So this presentation is by the end of the book that you have in front of you. I will just go through it because it has some nice hints that you will need for the group work that we will do in a little bit later. So use a clear writing style without spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes. Because these mistakes, they give the wrong impression to the reader. Be prepared for rewriting the first draft maybe several times. If you see that you have a piece of text in front of you, you try to refine it, you try to make it better, and you really have a difficulty, sometimes it's better to throw it away and write it from the beginning. You understand me? It may help you because now, since you wrote it the first time, I know that you would like this effort to let's say to be valid, but sometimes it is better to rewrite something from the beginning. And remember to check your assessment criteria. Remember what the examiner will look for. Writing a thesis, preparing a project, it is a very similar thing like developing or managing a project. So all the skills that you have as a manager, you can apply it on yourself when you are doing your project. And if you remember from project management, one very critical issue is time management. Okay, so time management and time management skills, they're going to be very important. So you may use all the tools that you know from time management, either a Gantt chart or an Excel sheet or things like that, in order to organize the steps of your work. Usually the steps in the beginning, they have in the beginning, because you have the literature review, you may have a lot of writing. Then you conduct your research, so at that point maybe there is not a lot of writing, and then by the end of your project, writing is going to be more intense. So, any question? We said that it will be very nice to have in your document to include charts and graphs. There are different types of charts and graphs, and they can be used for different reasons all the time. So we can see pie charts, bar charts, line charts, spider charts, and so on. So what usually we do with these charts? For example, tell me with a pie chart, usually what you try to demonstrate. Category?
The relationship between the entities within your percentage.
That's a good thing. What you said, percentage. When you have problems with to show something which is related to percentage, how many people in this room are men and how many women? This thing is nice to show it in a percentage. So if you have a percentage that makes something which is 100%, using a pie chart, very easily you can say which is this and what is that, what is the percentage. For example, bar charts. You can use bar charts to say how many men and how many women is, but it's not nice because the pie chart is giving you the feeling that you have 100% of a population and what is its part. With a bar chart, you don't have this feeling. But the bar chart is very good to present what type of information? Categories and trends. You can use them to compare, okay. You can use them because you have categories of information, but these categories of information, they accumulate something. For example, we vote here, and we vote for 3 things, and we say 20 people vote on this one, so another, not 20, yes, 20 people vote on this one, another 35 vote for that one. So we like to use bar charts when we want to show that there is an amount of quantity on something. Okay? Usually we represent quantity. And we have 2 types. We have the horizontal and the vertical ones. That depends on the type, the number of categories that you have. For example, if you have a lot of categories, it is better to use the horizontal bar charts because you have the categories one below the other. Because if you do it horizontally, the categories, you will not have enough space in your page. You understand me? Do you have any question about that? Okay. And we will see, we have all these things later on, and we will see also the line charts. Let me go like this. The line charts or the line graphs, we use them to represent values. For the best example is the temperature. When I say 30 degrees, I don't say from 0 to 30, I mean 30. It's a value. Okay? So in this case, it is better to use line graphs.
We want to see a change in one parameter, a trend.
The line charts, because they have to do with values, they can help you with trends as well. Yes, I agree.
One variable, and then maybe we can
Exactly. Exactly. You can include these texts these graphs inside your text, and usually do not let any chart without comments. It is very bad to have figures or charts on the text without the appropriate discussion below or above it. Usually, the good thing is to talk about a chart before it appears. Do you see what I'm doing here? First, I'm talking about the chart, then the chart is coming into my text. Why I'm doing this? Because I don't want to create the question to the reader who suddenly see a picture that he didn't read anything about, and he is surprised to see what is this figure about. So usually, first we discuss, and then we put the chart, the graph itself. Now, maybe the paragraph that we have or the page is like that, so we have to split. You can continue the discussion below the chart, but definitely the first part of it, or the first citation of the graph, it should happen before the picture. You will realize that when you are trying to explain something, you have many ways. The easiest way that you can have is to write a paragraph about this. But the problem with the paragraph is that it's not easy for someone to understand, or it needs a lot of time to decode and get the whole picture. So actually, you can think of saying the same thing a little bit with simple sentences. I'm not reading it. You can sit down and read to see the difference. You can use, for example, bullet points, because the bullet points organize the information in a certain structure. So this is one way of doing it. So instead of using a full paragraph with all the information there, you can split the information in bullets, if it is possible. Yeah, I'm not talking to do the whole text bullets. It doesn't go like that, okay? You can even think of going further and present the same information using tables, yeah? In a tabular format. So more or less, the same paragraph now, it is a little bit more visual and easier for someone to understand and review. The tables that you are using, they must always follow a certain structure. And it's a nice thing to keep the same format for all the tables in your text, if possible, because it's also the information that you have there, they may need to rearrange, it may require for you to rearrange something. But basically, you need to have headers for the columns that you have. If the table splits in more than one page, repeat the headers. It helps the reader. On the left side, usually we have the categories, and the body of the table can be, let's say, better for the reader if it gives a sort of understanding of the grouping or the lines. So you can use some background colors, not very intensive, because in the printout they will become very bad, okay? So you can use some light backgrounds in order to give to the reader the feeling of some grouping or to be able to distinguish line by line. On the bottom of the table, you may need to reference the source if the table is coming from another source. Can you remind me, if I want to put a title, a caption for this table, where I should place it, because it's not here? What we said yesterday? We said there is a difference between the figure and the table. The caption for the figures and the charts is always down. The caption for the tables is always up. Is it clear? Make a note if you feel that you can forget it, okay? Tables, if you do it with Microsoft Word, automatically Microsoft Word will do it correctly, yeah? But for you to know about that as well, it's important. So make sure that you have headers, categories, and you distinguish, you make a nice formatting in order for the reader to be able to distinguish the lines among them, among the information. This is an area chart. It can be used to combine, let's say, a bar chart with a line chart, because it gives you trend, and in the same time it gives you amount of or quantity of values. The pie charts, we explain why we need them. Do you have any question? Do you like to comment on something? Do not forget to put titles on top of your charts, and what we miss here, maybe, tell me one mistake that you see here. For this chart is not a mistake, but let me, over here. What is the mistake here in this chart? Yes, what is missing? So this is, let's say, obvious that these are years, but always you need a label for your axis. Okay, the y-axis and the x-axis, the category axis, both of them, they don't have labels. So it is important in your charts to include the measurement or the labels for the axis. So basically, every chart will have a title, it will have the axis, the values, the explanation, the label for the axis, and then if you have more than one lines of information, more than one categories of information, then you have to explain what its color is, or maybe you can separate. If you don't use color, you can use different types of lines or different types of symbols. For example, if you realize here, this is a rhombus, this is a square, in order to give to the reader, even in a black and white printout, to understand what is the difference between these lines. Here we have a pictograph, which means a graph with pictures, not very, let's say, useful in a master thesis. It is better when we, let's say, using different types of documents. You can have some geographs related to maps, and you can also use some 3D graphs, although you have to be careful with the 3D graphs. 3D graphs, when you print them on paper, they are not always very obvious what they mean. So the 3D graphs, they can have, it can be bar charts, it can be surface charts, and so on. So that's it, the main points. In case that you will have to defend your thesis with a presentation, with an oral presentation, you have to make a very nice planning about the time that you're going to use on each topic that you will discuss. You have to use visual aids, and you have to make your presentation interesting to the reader, so you have to go directly into the point, explaining the important things, and just try to give in the shortest amount of time the magnitude of the work that you have implemented. So that's it from my side. Let's go now to our study material, and let me remind you, where did we stop? We had to study an introduction and answer some questions. We will go ahead this. I don't want you to do it right now, but there were some questions in page 24. So all of us, let's go to page 24. And let's do E, F, and G. So now you are a team, okay? As you sit there. I want 3 things from each team. I would like you to define a problem, and I want you to use the flip chart which is next to you. So one of your team will be nominated as the writer. He will be responsible to write on the flip chart. We can also nominate one, let's say, leader in the team. So if there is any dispute, he will have to solve this issue. And the rest of the team members, I would like to do the maximum of their effort in order to answer these questions as fast as possible, because we have a lot of work to do today, okay? One important thing is question G, where I would like to see a hypothesis with a null hypothesis, and I will give you 15 minutes to finish this task.
Okay, first,
Okay.
from the topic. The topic is the role of evolving HR on the overall organization strategies. This is the topic.
All right.
And from that, we extract the problem statement, which is the strategic role of HR is not effectively being utilized in the organization. So the strategic role of HR is underutilized. This is the problem.
Okay.
And from that, we formulate the research question. What is the impact of evolving HR in formulating the organization strategies? And how could organization gain competitive advantage using HR role? This is the research question.
Okay, and the hypothesis?
Hypothesis 0, null hypothesis. There is no impact of HR in formulating organization strategies, or there is a positive impact of HR in formulating organization strategies, which would lead to organization to gain competitive advantage. So only 2 hypotheses.
Okay. Any comments? First of all, we realized that we had more than one research questions, because the research questions are coming as soon as you have a problem statement. You create very easily some of these questions, but it can go the other way around. For some of you that you had a problem setting up the statement, starting from the question, it was giving you an initiation point to end up with the problem. Do you want to comment anything?
The problem of statement is very short. Can you elaborate more?
Yes, definitely in a real project, the problem statement, it is a full paragraph. It is something longer than what we can do on a flip chart, yeah?
The best we can do
But-
in 15 minutes.
But in 15 minutes, we are not expecting something longer. Is it clear? Yes? HR problems. Okay. Thank you. Let's go to team number 3. We will go around. So.
Again, we are different. So we touched the same topic yesterday, which is about LED. So the problem statement, the existing conventional lighting is high in cost that gives the financial strain on the national economy. Same question. Okay, this is the problem statement. That the LED is giving high cost that bothers the national economy. Okay?
Excuse.
The conventional existing lighting issues. Question? Good. Now, we go to the research question. What are the advantages of LED lighting on the national economy or national economy? What are the advantages of the LED lighting on the national economy? So this is the research question.
So you see the statement is the conventional light. The research question is we have a new idea with, let's say, a new trend, LEDs, and we would like to see how this will affect in order to solve the problem, okay? And the hypothesis?
The hypothesis is the LED lighting is better in performance compared to the conventional lighting. Yeah, this is the hypothesis. The null hypothesis, LED lighting is not efficient than the conventional lighting. Question?
Okay. We can discuss this. Yes, please. Yeah. Just use the mic as well. You are close enough.
Me as a reader, what I understand from the problem statement, he's trying to take me in this study about the financial problems. You know, like financial, what LED will gonna save for the national or the country. But once he go to the hypothesis, he's trying to talk about the quality. So he's talking about the cost, right? Performance, yes. So I don't know, it's not matching. He's talking about the cost, and then the hypothesis is talking about the quality. So this is
okay.
no, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, the word that creates the problem is the word performance. Okay, the cost is still there. The cost, or you remove the cost. So that creates a problem that he mentions. If you can, I mean, it's not a problem. It just gives you an idea that it's a good thing. All these things to be aligned. So since the main problem is the financial issue, and my project is trying to validate or study what is happening from the financial issue. So the hypothesis, it's a good thing to go in this side. I would like to comment one more thing with the hypothesis. Let's read the null hypothesis. The null hypothesis says LED lighting is not affecting the conventional light. This is not efficient. Sorry, is not efficient. So now we see that we have another verb there. One is the hypothesis is related to the performance. The null hypothesis is related to efficiency. Avoid that. Okay? It's a very nice example to see what we have to avoid. Since the verb that we are looking there is performance, the null hypothesis will try to prove that there is no relation to the with the performance. Okay? Based on the comment there, we could even change the performance to cost and keep, instead of efficiency, the cost or the financial aspects. Is it clear? It helps you? You understand it? So try to keep in your thesis these things to be aligned. Use one verb that one verb contradicts to the other one, not different verbs, because this may lead you to different problems. Okay? Thank you very much. Very nice topic, a very nice example. Let's go to team number 1, 2, 3, 4. You are team 4. Yes. Move.
No, we are not ready yet. We are not ready.
We will talk about LED in.
But different colors. Yeah?
Okay, I was not involved, so if there's any problem, you can just ask that.
Yes. We blame the others.
We were talking about the new application, the platform of paying without the use of taking your credit card or cash. If you go into Carrefour or if you want to rent a car, so there are new platforms that can be installed in your device. Just less the headache of carrying your whole wallet. So the problem is the restrictions of using the electronic wallets in Bahrain. Why a majority of people are against using these kind of platforms in their devices, and they're still using their wallets. They feel more secure paying with the traditional ways.
Okay. So probably we are an IT company that we would like to produce a product,
yes.
yeah, a product related to a wallet, to electronic wallet, but we conduct a study in order to realize that this product will be valid or not in the end. Okay, continue.
Now the research question will be how this will be secured against hacking, mainly. Is there a problem with the question? I had in the mushkil? Okay, skip.
How?
I'm not the one who wrote it, you can just ask the guy. Yeah, sir.
No coffee for this guy. Today. No. One moment. Yes. One moment. I want you to participate. So the problem. Just read the problem again. The restrictions.
When you're talking about going to the research question,
yeah.
We're talking about the restrictions. So one of the restrictions will be people will say that it might be hacked. It's easy to hack my phone, to hack the electronic wallets and steal all my money.
Okay, so actually it has to do with trust.
Yes,
if we trust it or we don't trust it.
Exactly.
Yeah? So try to keep these general words in your questions, because if you go directly to words like hacking and things like that, it's not only that. And this, so keep it a little bit more general at that point of your research. Yeah, more general. So don't go directly to this type of terminology that will lead maybe to different perspective. Because as I read this research question, my mind is going now for a study that will study security issues related to e-wallets. But you don't want to do this.
You want to make it more general?
Yes, you have to.
I told them wallahi, but they didn't listen.
Okay.
The second one, what will be the age group of using this platform?
What will be there?
The age group we have now.
The age groups.
Are like the young people, the demography or what they call it. The
Okay.
teenagers, they usually prefer using these applications or these platforms,
Okay.
not the like my father and my uncle.
Correct. Can we correct the syntax a little bit in the English there? When you formulate these questions, don't use future tense.
Okay.
Okay, because you want to study something that is happening right now. Okay, so what are the ages, the age groups
That prefer using this.
that prefer using this type of? Okay.
Okay, now the hypothesis, using electronic wallets will help improving or maximizing the buying power or the purchasing power. Encourage people to go outside, and buy more. Because now, if you're outside, if you don't have your wallet with you and you see something that you want, maybe you will skip and go back and say I don't have my wallet. So now with everything in one phone, so you can just easily grab anything you see in the market or in the street. Or
Okay, and the null hypothesis. Now, what I don't like very much here is that I cannot see the real connection of the hypothesis and the question with the problem statement.
yes,
That's a little bit
misleading or confusing.
confusing there.
My solution.
Okay.
Skip the back.
Yes, let's go to the null hypothesis. Yeah.
Okay, now the contradict one. The
Yes.
Electronic wallets are less secure than the traditional ways of paying or buying. People think that the electronic wallets are easy to hack, so they will just prefer having physical cash with them.
Okay. You cannot listen to me. What? Okay. Be careful. This is a nice example to avoid it.
I was in the bathroom, by the way.
So, look, what is a null hypothesis? It's a very nice example just to discuss about the null hypothesis. Please read both of them again. They already listened to it. Okay. First of all, remind me, what is the null hypothesis? Is
Something you need to prove the otherwise, right?
no, is where you try to reject your hypothesis. So, is like we say, we gave this example yesterday, I will repeat it. Fast food create health problems. Okay?
Most likely it is not the truth.
The null hypothesis is not that fast food makes your health better. You understand me? This is the opposite. This is not a null hypothesis. The null hypothesis is that fast food does not affect your health. So there is no relation between the independent and the dependent variable. Is it clear? This is it is very nice to revise this thing. Again, the null hypothesis is not the opposite. Is the case that is not affecting.
So we can say that it will not increase the buying power
Exactly.
result.
That's the null hypothesis there. So if your initial hypothesis, it will increase, as you
Yes,
said.
so it has to reject the first point.
Exactly. Is not the opposite, is the
the
rejection. Is the
general
rejection
statement
of
of
that. Okay. It's okay? Yes, please.
So the alternative, how should we say, in favor of your
Usually, the alternative hypothesis is always what you want to, what you suspect. Yes, what you want to prove. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Is that actually this is not happening? Yeah. It is not the opposite of you, but it is just it doesn't work. The first hypothesis. It is not. It doesn't say that the other thing is happening in the other way around. Okay. Nice. Thank you very much. Very good work. Yeah, very nice examples there. Team number 5. You have to remember that team number 5 was had the
Our problem statement is the lack of awareness among the students in Bahrain University on the resources provided in social media or the internet. So they are not efficiently or effectively using the resources that are available. So that is the problem. For this, we wrote the question of the topic, which is what's the impact of Khan Academy, if you are aware of, YouTube channel on students' knowledge in Bahrain University. That is all. You don't know Khan Academy? It's a YouTube channel where he used to be an MIT student. Then he is providing almost in all university subjects very helpful and informative videos, actually.
So,
Khan Academy.
Yeah.
He used to be an MIT student.
so the problem is that the students are not using this type of resources, and you formulate one question where it says, okay, let's study what is happening on this specific medium for e-learning. We can consider it. Okay. In this type of, I know that you had 15 minutes to work, but you can start using some terminologies which are also general, like e-learning, e-wallet. You had it there, although you didn't put it on the, you had it on your problem statement as well. Okay, try to use some nice general terms.
We use social media, by the way. Yeah, something
Yes.
that you learn in social media.
With the word social media, you make it even bigger.
Yeah, that is in the problem statement. The problem statement. They are not aware of these
Okay.
resources.
And let's see the hypothesis.
Yeah. So the another one is that other resources can be used instead of an academy. And also this and also professors in Bahrain University could add information about in the Khan Academy in their lectures. Same as what you do sometimes. Professors here use some YouTube medias, but since the Khan Academy is more in the chemistry, mathematics, and all these things, so lecturers they can use it in their lectures.
Okay. Before I will say anything, your comments on the hypothesis. I think the best outcome of this discussion here, it will be that in the end we will know to formulate hypothesis, okay? Because this has a problem as well. But tell me what's the problem.
It is not linked with the problem statement.
He's trying to find, the question is very good, the problem is very good. He's trying to find the impact, the awareness about these channels on for the student. But the hypothesis is not related to it. The hypothesis is saying, null hypothesis, the professor can add to the literature, which is not, this is not what we are trying to know.
Okay, so imagine that we are reading this as a hypothesis. Yes, please.
Yes.
It is not a hypothesis. It's just a statement. Okay? A hypothesis always has two variables. It says that if one variable is happening like this, the other one will be like that. Okay? So the problem with this hypothesis is that it's not correctly stated there. You can, based on your questions there, you can say that my hypothesis is that Khan Academy improve the knowledge of the students in Bahrain University. Is clear? So if we state this as a hypothesis, what is the null hypothesis?
Cannot be used. Our students are not aware of this.
No. The null hypothesis, it was always related to the alternative hypothesis. So you will say that the Khan Academy does not affect the knowledge of the students in Bahrain. It's not the opposite exactly. Be careful. It's the contradiction of the other. Okay? The opposite is that the Khan Academy reduced the knowledge of the students. Okay? But we don't want to do the opposite. We want to, that's why it is not called the opposite hypothesis. That's why it is called the null hypothesis. Which means that there is no connection between these two things. But why we need the null hypothesis? Yes?
To make the outcome of the research excitement. So you reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternative. So you make kind of outcome to the reader to feel excited.
I believe maybe it's called the judgment. The size of the research. How we can judge the outcomes.
Maybe to give the researcher reliability, that here is the idea and here is the contradiction of the idea. So the research is balanced, and then we come out with the outcome.
Okay. The more or less is the same. Yeah? What you say?
Could it be a confirmation that the
Yes, let me say it in a better way. One, it contradicts to the other. So one is happening, the other one does not happen. So this can help you to have 2 points to start your study. You can either try to prove that the null hypothesis does not exist, and if you prove this, immediately your alternative hypothesis is proven. This is, let's say, a trick in mathematics that we use. Because when you have two things that they contradict, if you prove that one thing does not apply, so the other one will apply. That's why we're using the null hypothesis, because if you have the null hypothesis, it can help you in your data analysis that we will say a little bit later on. Okay? Is it clear now with the hypothesis? Do we understand? The important thing is to make mistakes, yeah? Because if we do it now, we don't do it later on. Yes, please.
So do we need to prove the alternative hypothesis, or we prove the null hypothesis?
You can work in both ways. The easiest way is you can, let's say, go for the null hypothesis. This is usually the easiest way. To prove, yes, to prove that the null hypothesis does not apply. Yeah.
Do you have to have a null hypothesis, or you can just have alternative?
I wouldn't say you have to have, but it's a good tactic, yeah? Usually it goes like this, yeah?
You only need to prove one.
Yeah. So you will see in page 31, as I was telling you, the introduction that I have there, the author did a very nice work with the hypothesis. And you will see how he also did it with figures. If we go to page 31, it is a topic, yeah? So he has all the alternative hypotheses, which are always mentioned with a number, H1, H2, and so on. And then he has the null hypothesis, which is always H0, is mentioned, and he put it like pairs. Very well, thank you very much. Let's go to the next. Yes?
Null hypothesis, we will call it null hypothesis, give it under hypothesis.
Yes, you will call it null hypothesis, H0. Yeah?
We add to
I would suggest to you to have pairs. For every hypothesis to have a null hypothesis, as a suggestion.
I mean, for our research, we have to mention hypothesis and we have to mention the state, then null hypothesis.
Yes, yes. Go in page 31 and see how it is done. As a good practice, yeah? Have a look for a moment, and if you have more questions, tell me, please. Okay, let's continue.
Okay, so we have chosen a topic that we discussed yesterday, and I think it's relevant to everyone, so it will be easy to discuss. Factors affecting students on selecting university for higher education in Bahrain. So the problem statement is that we have so many factors. There are many factors that affect the decision of students pursuing higher education studies in Bahrain. Factors such as timing for workers, lifestyle, the fees, quality of education, accreditation, maybe specialties. So these factors are actually influencing the decision. The questions are, is there any question here? Right here? Okay, so the questions here are, how the accreditation of university affects students' choices? So, valid question?
I think it's too specific.
The accreditation now, it is just one factor.
Yes, it's
One factor, okay.
One of the questions.
Okay, so you will go now with one question per factor.
We can do that, or we can put them all together in one question. All the factors in one question.
Okay, all right.
Okay, the second question is, what is I think maybe here we are focusing on one thing. This is the general problem, and then we are focusing on these areas, the accreditation and the importance of the ranking of the university, whether in worldwide or in GCC. So is it better if it's the ranking is higher in the worldwide, or is it just important to compare it in GCC? So this is another question. Okay.
So what we try to do, if it is important to be a worldwide ranking than.
They might demand it more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which one is more important? We can say.
Exactly.
Okay. And we have more.
Question.
Yeah.
Goes, does fees of university play a big role in attracting students? So let's go for the hypothesis. So our null hypothesis is revised, and it is the ranking and type of universities, whether they're online or in campus, does not affect the quality of education. This is the null.
Okay.
And then the alternatives. We have.
No, I want to ask
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure, sorry. With regards to the null hypothesis, do we need to put a negative connotation to the question? Does not affect, it will not benefit?
It will not, yes, that's an easy way of doing it.
That's
Yes, exactly. But what I would like to comment in this hypothesis, please read it again, either the hypothesis or the null hypothesis, as it is.
So the ranking and type of universities, whether they're online or in campus, does not affect the quality of education. So
Okay.
we're saying that if we go on campus universities, we pursue better education, we have better experience with the professors,
All right.
with the...
One thing that I was already discussing with one team earlier. Usually a hypothesis is a connection between variables. In this exercise, as I had it there, maybe my mistake, I didn't ask you to spot the variables that you are working with. Because if you were, let's say, finding the variables, maybe the formulation of the hypothesis, it would be easier. The problem with such a hypothesis, it has so many variables inside that it will be very difficult for you with the study that you are going to do to either reject or approve. And maybe one variable will affect in such a way the other variables that you will come up with wrong results. For example, you say that the fees is one reason and the other reason is the ranking. Imagine that the fees is dominant. So if it is the price is always what makes the student to decide. It is expensive, I don't go. It is cheap, I go. Let's say that this is what is happening in reality. In the end, if you study and you say, yes, this is happening, your answer will be that both ranking and financial issues are applied, but in reality the ranking didn't play any role. Why? Because you had both of them there in your hypothesis and you were studying both of them, but one of the two was dominant on the other, and because your hypothesis was combining, correlating both of them, you didn't have the chance to find out. Yes?
Yeah, but I think for this topic, the descriptive research would be better if they don't state their hypothesis at all, and they just make a descriptive research that these are the factors which influence Bahraini students because we did the questionary, or we did, I don't know, the interviews.
Yes.
And these are, you know,
The descriptive study does not contradict with the hypothesis. The hypothesis will be proven with a descriptive statistical study. But when you have two variables, these variables, they are together in the hypothesis, they correlate. And you have to, let's say, make sure, or you have to know that in your study, you will study the correlation of these two.
So can you say that we are now in a point where we are kind of reaching a decision between qualitative
No, what is going to be your statistical analysis is coming later on, after you specify your hypothesis. My advice here is just keep your hypothesis simple. Don't put many variables. Because if you have many variables in reality, you will not be able to study. Or the study is going to be such a difficult thing that maybe in the amount of time that you have. So all the ideas that I see right now are very nice. Of course, you had a small amount of time, but you make it bigger than the time that you had or than what you should do in general.
So we better
Okay?
narrow it down.
Yes.
As
Generally, keep your ideas narrowed down. So the topic is very nice. Study one thing, the fees, the ranking only. Yes.
If I have a lot of vectors, such as in this example,
Mhm.
similar to the yesterday's example, can I make the dimensions, group them, so it will be easier for me to put the questions?
Yes.
There's too many factors here, so
Some of these factors, they come in the same group. Let's say accreditation factors. Ranking and, let's say, governmental decisions and so on. It can be one. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I have a comment on the research question.
Yes.
Because it's 3 questions.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's better to formulate it like one statement combining the all factors. For example, what is the factors and which one is influencing more than others. Rather than writing 3 questions, it will be better, I think, to have it one question.
Okay. Your comment is why we had so many questions, and the answer in reality is because the subject was very broad with many factors that gave them the, let's say, the luxury to formulate as many as they like.
We can say
Okay.
what is the factors affecting the student choice and which one is influencing the student more than others. So again, you can combine it in general question.
Okay, and the study will be to find the factors, not...
Yeah, then in the variables, we will define that the accreditation, the ranking, the cost, these are the variables which we will study one by one to see which factors affected more than others.
than the others.
Yeah, so better to have this
As a question, what are the factors that... yes,
You are
I agree.
removing our topic, yeah.
I agree, yeah.
The full area of the study.
Yes, it has to be general because it goes with the goals, yeah?
Yeah.
So the goal in general is to find the factors that affect. Very nice. Any other comment, question?
Alternative hypothesis.
Yeah, the alternative, I think we...
Yeah, I did not start with them. So the first alternative hypothesis is, it's the only one. Online universities have lower quality education than on-campus.
Education.
So it is actually,
Okay.
It's
It's like one quarter of this null hypothesis. Because this null hypothesis had 4 factors. It was talking about ranking, it was talking about finance, it was talking about in-campus and and online universities, and this hypothesis is talking about only the comparison between. So I would suggest that this hypothesis is nice, and you just need a null hypothesis on that.
okay, so we just stick
But
to
one moment, there is one more. Please read it again.
Okay, so the hypothesis says that online universities have lower quality of education than the ones in campus.
This is a hypothesis?
No, because we did not
No.
specify online as a factor.
This can be a question or a conclusion. It's not a hypothesis because your hypothesis will look like that. Online education affects the quality
Okay, makes sense.
of the studies.
Excuse me, Professor, I don't see.
Or I won't say online, or it's very difficult to find a word about that. I would say, where do you get your education, the place of the education, or it's not the type, the way, yeah. Maybe someone can help, I don't know. It's a little bit difficult. But anyway, the type of education, let's say, affects the quality. And when we say type, we mean if it is in campus or out campus. Something like that, yeah.
There is no correlation between the topic and the hypothesis. In the topic, they talk about...
The topic is very big, yeah, and it has to be factors.
But hypothesis is different, totally different to the topic.
It's talking about one of the factors.
Yeah, one of the factors.
Yeah, that's why we said it's very broad and it has to be.
No, but what I mean
Never
is
mind.
you say that factors influences the choice of the university, and then you just talk about the quality of education, it's different.
Yes, it is. Do you get my approach here? The only way for you to do a good work is to see mistakes. The more mistakes we do, the better. Because right now you have all these examples in your head and you remember my comments. Keep it simple, be careful with the null hypothesis, try to not to just put statements, but hypotheses, they need to have two variables. One is affecting the other or is not affecting, okay? Any more questions? Let's go to the last group. Last team.
I just want to say something, that the topic we have chosen is for Muhammad Rasmi.
Okay. The invoice later on, please.
So the topic is the impact of workforce diversity on healthcare organization success in Bahrain. The problem statement was, currently there are few nationalities dominating the workforce in the healthcare organizations in Bahrain. This may impact the quantity and quality of services acquired from different nationalities.
Okay. What's the question?
No, I was saying that this is racist. I respect your opinion. Okay, so the research question is, how workforce diversity contributes to success of healthcare organizations?
How?
The hypothesis was diversified workforce in healthcare organizations has a positive impact on the quality of service leading to success. The non-hypothesis, diversified workforce in healthcare organizations, has no impact on the quality of services that lead to success.
Any comments? Oh.
I think the problem statement need to be revised. We don't say that few nationalities and all this. We can say that workforce diversity not being utilized effectively in the organization or something, especially in healthcare. And we need to study it more, rather than making such a statement.
Yeah, but it is true statement, really.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, you can say
what's true, what is not, but how.
One thing it can be if it applied or not applied, okay, or the problem is that it's not applied, since you have it as a problem statement, so like that. Or in the other hand, if we know that if this creates a problem or is not creating a problem, so the existence or the application of that thing, if it is valid or not valid.
Can you say like the factors affecting not having diversified companies? You know that one? Like the factors affecting of not having like diversified companies.
No, the problem statement. The problem statement, you have to state that, or highlight that this thing is a problem. Okay, so what is the problem here? That we don't apply we don't apply these rules, or we don't know if we apply these rules are affecting our results?
The problem is the companies are not benefiting from workforce diversity, and if they have workforce diversity, they can have better performance. This is a problem.
This is more like a hypothesis to me.
Our second statement is elaborating more on what is concentrating on. We are mentioning that it is affecting the quality and the quantity of services. So because this may it is the same idea what we is highlighting.
Okay. Many of the problems or the questions that we have right now is because we don't have the whole problem stated, and maybe we have very general approach to what we are doing. But I would like just to summarize for all the things that we have seen today, which are very interesting, is that be careful. You have to state your problem, to have a clear statement of the problem, and you have to know what is the question behind. You have to state your questions. They have to be directly related to the problem statement, and your hypothesis can be more than one, but you have to use the minimum amount of variables that you will study in order to have the time to study all the material in the certain amount of time that you will have to implement your thesis. Do we have more questions? Yes.
I have a suggestion for
Yeah.
I believe that different schools, what makes the diversification good. I believe that even from the same country, but they are coming from different universities, this kind of diversification will make it. What I mean is that the sense of racism, what my colleague raised, I believe it has something there. And this diversification of schools or universities, what will make the benefits that our police are looking for?
So you mean that this could be more general, in the diversification in general, that it could go even between men and women, and the level of study and schools, and not only country, where are you coming from, yeah? Well, maybe.
That's why you have variables, and you see which one is more effective.
In this case, you will study generally the diversification, and you will have variables in order to see which one affects more.
So maybe we just should have removed the nationality.
Yeah, with the word nationality, you just narrow it down. That's I would consider it as positive, yeah, because you just make your problem smaller. Because the diversification, it's a much bigger problem there.
But if you have the research question, it's related to the problem statement,
Yep,
right?
yep. All right, over here you must address the question why that sample is appropriate. So you select a certain amount, a certain size of sample based on the population that you study. So you have to justify why you did this. Why did you ask these type of questions? Because you usually go for a questionnaire as the way in order to study your topic. So you have to say why you are using this questionnaire, why you ask these people, how did you select the sample, and you have to be able to explain to someone that your data is valid as well, and the questions that you are using are also answered in an appropriate way. As a structure for this chapter, you can have an introduction. You can specify the theoretical framework, the conceptual framework, and then you can specify your variables, the independent and the dependent variables. Then you have to say what was the instrument that you are using in order to collect the data, what is the target population, what was the criteria that you used. Yeah.
What would be an example for the
A questionnaire. Yes, the most common one, yeah? The methods of data analysis, the reliability and the validity test of the answers that you receive, and you can also discuss some ethical issues, especially if there are things that they have to be treated in a certain way. So you can take this, let's say these sections, and start putting answers over there as a way of implementing it, and we will see this in the thesis that we have in front of us, and the study that I have, the study material that we have. Yes, please.
I have two questions.
Yes.
Are all these sections mandatory for chapter 4?
Yes. Okay, the theoretical framework is if you, over there you can have an overlap or you can select maybe one of them, but the theoretical framework, it has to do with theories that exist and you would like to combine it with your study. So if there is a certain, let's say, theory that you find in the, and also you have to discuss, let's say, if you're going to conduct a qualitative and quantitative study, so, and the theoretical background behind the way of applying your methods in reality. So the conceptual, it goes to more practical, and you target it now to your study. The theory, it can be general. It doesn't mean that it matches 100% to what you want to do, but when you go to the conceptual framework, you say how you're going to apply this theory in your topic. Okay? The big part, the main part on this chapter is the selection of your sample and the design of your questionnaire. So in this chapter there is a lot of work actually for the presentation or writing it. It's usually very easy because it represents all the work, the amount of work that you already implemented. As soon as you have your questionnaire and you conduct your study, then you collect your data and you go to the phase of analysis. Usually, here is the problem. That's why we will have the chance to see some examples in order to get good, better feedback about this. So you choose one of the tools used in the empirical literature, and you can also adapt it to your problem if needed, and then you start your empirical study. You have to present also the strengths and the weaknesses of the methodological tools that you apply in your research hypothesis and in comparison to your literature review as well. So in this chapter we have to clearly present and precisely the data that we have chosen and the sources that these data are coming from, and we have to present the result of the empirical study as well, like a summary. Mainly we have to analyze the survey question, and we have to give the results of the main independent variables that will participate in our study. In order to do that, we may need to use some statistical methods that we already, you already discussed in the academic writing course. The problem is that if your data doesn't make sense, because in this stage you already have your data and you see the results and the effect of the variables to the outcomes and you compare this to your hypothesis, and more or less you are ready to come up with the results. And the problem, if the data does not fit to your hypothesis, usually is when you let's say start having doubts and you are looking to find more analytical or different ways to analyze your data in order to come up with your results. In this case, maybe you will need some help from any friend who knows to do very good statistical analysis. Because if your data is not, you are not able to evaluate your data with a common let's say statistical techniques, and you have to go into regressions and things like that, then things are becoming pretty advanced. I don't know, maybe someone of you already use this type of statistical analysis and you are familiar, but most of the people, they are not.
SPSS?
SPSS is a tool that can help you in order to do these things, but what to select from the SPSS is the issue. And usually you select all these basic things that we already discussed about the means. I mean, some statistical analysis where you create a mean or a medium or a mode. in order to make a very simple comparison. If this does not work, if this doesn't make sense, if you remember the Gaussian belts and the normal belts, if your data does not fit to these things, then you may have some problems. And you will need a greater effort. Let me go to the discussion and the interpretation, where this is where you start putting up your own. Yes. One of these things, yeah.
And the structure is a bit different to what is in the book. So what do we follow?
One moment.
Yeah, like this chapter 5, it's different to what, you know, what is here and what is in the book.
Actually, he put in 2 chapters the 1 chapter, yeah? Because the empirical standard and the methodology is the same thing, but this is not a master thesis. This is a master project.
Oh, it's master project.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah. It doesn't say.
Oh, it doesn't say.
Yeah, you can.
To follow the rubric, right?
Yes.
Either for business plan or for the thesis.
Or yes, or for the thesis.
And not
So
necessarily to be like
I will, as soon as we finish this theory, we will take these books and I will show you what is the difference between a master project and a master thesis.
But
Because
the
it's
business plan,
confusing,
we
yeah?
are all planning to do the business plan. Like we will
Okay,
be able to have time to discuss
the business plan is coming immediately after the break. Okay, so we will, before the break, which is 5, what time is the break? 5, 5:30? It's almost 6 o'clock. Okay, so we will stop and we will start from 6:15 until the end discussing the business plan, yeah? Yes? S- 6 o'clock, yeah?
Yeah, 6:05.
Okay, yes. So this,
So I think if we break from 6 to 6:30, is it okay? Possible?
yeah, maybe I will be able to start the business plan a little bit earlier as well. Yes, but we will have a break at that time, yeah? 6 to 6:20. So the structure that we see here is for a master thesis, and you have to follow it as it is, okay? It is important to keep the same structure that we have there. Some of the books that you have in front of you are master projects, and the master project, although in the beginning it looks identical to a master thesis, from this point and on is different. Okay, so that then we will discuss only the differences. So doing the master thesis is like we do the master project, but I will just give you the important parts. Now, I also mentioned that as soon as we finish this part, we will start a practical exercise based on this one in order to revise all these things that we say. And immediately after the break, or a little bit before the break, we will start the discussion of the business plan. And for the business plan, I will give you the main rubric and the things that, or the structure that a business plan has to follow. We will discuss its topic separately, and you will have in front of you business plans that are already distributed on the tables, and your task is gonna be like a discussion of, look, my business plan is doing this nicely. Maybe some other group will say, look, this business plan has a problem, because we have to go through again this practical exercise in order to start evaluating the quality of a business plan or a master thesis as we are doing right now. Is it okay? Yes. You are with me, yeah? Good. So the discussion and the interpretation of the findings is the chapter number 6, and usually to do this you use your questionnaires and the results from the questionnaires, where you have to sit down there and discuss and comment on the results that the questionnaires are giving to you. So you may take piece by piece the questions, or groups of questions, and you start interpreting why you receive and what is the effect of the answers on your study. In case that you have interviews, you don't have questionnaire, you will do a similar thing based on a nice formulation of the questions that you were using during the interview. And you will discuss also the implications that these results are giving you. You have to draw the key points on this chapter, and you have to be careful because you in this chapter is, let's say, all the work that you are doing. So you have to convince the reader that what you say there is valid and makes sense.
Sorry,
yes.
Do you present just the results of the questionnaire and the surveys and not the actual survey as an appendix? Or is it just
The results. Aggregated information. Usually we have a lot of, you will see when we do the practical, many charts that through the charts things make sense. And it is easier, this way it is much easier for you to draw the key points. Okay, this note is important. If we messed with the methodology, if we made mistakes in the design of our study, when we come here, this is the place that you will realize the mistake. And usually it's too late. Okay? It's never too late. Positive thinking. So, over here, we have our statistical analysis and inference. We can do the hypothesis testing where we can approve and reject the null hypothesis or the alternative hypothesis. We can compare our results with some similar studies from the literature review. So the literature review is coming back here and we say, yes, now what we find is similar to this study. So this may support your findings, or it contradicts with another study because you would like to impose that your findings are better and they lead to a different solution. And you also discuss the implication of your results on the organization. So the next step is chapter 7. Where you put up the concluding results of your study. So we have the conclusion, the implications, and the recommendations. So the conclusion is a summary of your thesis. You have to summarize each chapter and what was happening in each chapter. So you give, let's say, a fast overview using the past tense. You have to present the results and the combination with the literature and review that you already conducted. And you also represent the limitations of your result and also the recommendation based on the findings that you already had. You have to recognize that the recommendations are not to use without the plan for their implementation, so at least the consideration of the main problems that will encounter into your implementation. So be careful, because this may be an issue that you will not remember to do it, as it is the last things and the last bits of work that you are apply. Usually this chapter will take 4 pages of your thesis. The structure of it will have an overview, the summary of the findings, a discussion a general discussion of the findings and a conclusion, the contribution of your study, any result limitation, your recommendation, suggestion for further studies, and a summary. All this we will see it on the material. After the conclusion is coming what? Is coming the references, the bibliography. Here, I have many, let's say, theoretical things which are related to the needs of bibliography and the referencing and so on, which are more or less you know and understand. I would like to concentrate more on examples of referencing. Can you tell me what is referencing, just to make sure that we are all in the same page?
To acknowledge the information that you have got, which is not yours, to avoid plagiarism.
Okay, one reason that we are doing it is for acknowledgement. The other one is to protect ourselves from plagiarism. Another reason is yes, you acknowledge or you appreciate the work of somebody else.
Is it APA or Harvard?
The type that you have to use for your master thesis is Harvard. So what is this Harvard that we just mentioned? Is a style. I have it later on. We will see it. Okay, we're gonna see it. So make sure that for your referencing, you are doing referencing, for you to be honest. From where did you got the sources? For courtesy, for credibility, and also to help others. Because since you made the effort to locate all this different information which is related to this study, someone who's taking your work, he can go directly to many resources that you managed to spot. And also this is also a nice trick from your side, yeah? Do you know this trick? As soon as you find the best study of all that you are doing, the first thing for you to do is to go to the reference of this study. And from there, you will find many more resources for you. So it's like you find the tip and then you follow from there and on. It is easier than searching in general. So mainly on your literature review, you search until you find something that you consider as a very nice, valid reference. And from that point, you can go to the reference, and from that reference, you can continue. So referencing is helping you a lot because it is not only to avoid plagiarism, it is also increase your evidence and proof that what you say there is valid and correct, because others say as well. And usually you do it in order to avoid also plagiarism. You know what is plagiarism?
Yes.
So I'm going fast forward with this. One thing that you have to be careful with plagiarism is with graphs, tables, and images. They fall also in the same thing. So you have to reference any type of other of images or graphs that you will get from other studies. Usually when you reference with direct quotations, you avoid using long sentences. You usually select a couple of lines and you're referencing them with quotations. The most common way of referencing is you study, you come up with a summary, and you put the main point of the study that you have there. There are many styles for referencing. The one which is necessary for us is the Harvard referencing style. The Harvard referencing style, you need this for two reasons. One is how do you do the reference in the bibliography section that we are discussing, and the other thing is you have to know how you do the citation inside your text. And we will have some examples that we can go through. So we don't need to go through the Harvard. Just for the terminology, in-text citation is the citation that I mentioned earlier. Bibliography is the last chapter that we are discussing currently. Let's see how it looks like. Yes?
If I use the citation in text, for example, of the dictionary, do I need to put it in the bibliography too? Let's say I use the business dictionary and I put it in the text. It's like it's
yes, you have to. Because maybe you have, when you were doing the terms, let's say in the introduction, you say based on the dictionary, this one, this is the definition of, let's say, quality. So yes, yes, you have to put it there. So this is an inline citation where usually we have the name of the author and the year. In some cases, you can have also the page number from your reference. If you take information from many different areas, avoid putting pages there. You are not obliged to say that everything that you get, it is from this page or that page, okay? And generally, one source, you may use it in many different places into your thesis. If you don't consider it, you are not obliged to put the inline citation in every case. You can use it just once and then that's it. If you want to use it in order to support your sentence for a second time, then you can do it. Should I repeat what I said? You understand me? Yes. So as soon as you reference, you put a citation once in your text, maybe in the next chapter you use the same study again. You use information from that study. You don't need to put the citation again, the inline citation again. So as soon as you reference it, you cite it once, then use it as many times as you like. But there may be the case that you want to say, okay, I'm saying this based on that study. Then you can use again the same, you can use the inline citation again. Mm-hmm.
We should state it as well, right? We should write the citation.
You are not obliged to do it.
Because
you already mentioned it once, so use it as many times as you like later on without mentioning it.
But it will look like it is a my idea, whereas I have taken it from others.
Yes, especially in these cases where you really want to support that what you write there is not from you, you can put the citation again. You can repeat. Okay? Exactly. You will see that there are different rules if there is one author, two authors, three authors, and exactly for this thing, you will see that we have in the study material a referencing style of Harvard referencing style in the end. But tell me what you are going to do personally. There are different rules how you will do this inline citation. For example, if it is just one author, you write the name and the year. If it is two authors, you have to write the two names like that and the year. If it is three authors, you have to do it in a different way. So there are many different ways of, different rules that apply based on if it is a book, if it is a journal, if it is an online reference. All of them, they have different styles that you have to follow. All these styles are described in the end of your study material. But the question is, do you have to apply now this effort and study all these things and use it in your thesis?
No.
No. What you're going to do? You will use the online tools that exist in order to apply referencing. Like the Zotero. Do you know what is Zotero? Yes. Zotero is? Okay. So it's a special software that can help you to collect all your references and put them into the document as well. Because the good thing with this is that Zotero knows the rules of Harvard and applies them immediately.
Sorry.
Yes.
There's the other one, which is
Cite me or reference.
Yes. I think I have it here.
Does it matter which one you use? Or
Look, one is not helping you with the inline citation. The cite me, it's okay to create the reference, but you cannot have it in your in the inline text. The inline citation is not working. You have to do it manually. That's the problem. Yeah. It's doing this as well.
In text and at the end.
they give you
Indeed.
the format, but you have to manually input it into the document.
Okay, so they give it to you and you just have to put it there. Okay, yeah. Which for Harvard style is not a problem. If you were using, let's say, IEEE style where you have to put numbers and the numbers change based on the position that you put the reference, then it doesn't help. Yes, please.
Can you explain how do you cite the reports? Because I couldn't find it on Zotter and I don't have it. Like in my research proposal, I was using a report from the government website, and there was no author there.
Yes.
And, so how do you do that?
How can you do this in Zotero?
Zotter manually, I just couldn't.
Yeah, because if you, this is one very important issue. If you are planning to use an electronic software that will help you with citation, you have to get along from the beginning to the end. You cannot just have some of them manual and some of them from the software. It will create big problems. So you have to make sure that you are able to use very well the software in cases of manual references as well. And for example, for Zotero, you can do it very easily. So let's say that these are all the references that I have for my study, and a certain study lacks for some information because the online system wasn't able to get all this metadata because the metadata does not exist there, yeah? So in this case, you have the additional, you can add it by yourself. There is a plus sign there where you can add whatever you like.
There is no author at all.
And you don't know him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not stated. That's what I mean.
Like a white paper, I don't know, or many.
I took some information from your government website, and there was no author stated at all. It was just government information. So
Yeah.
that's the problem.
You don't say how to do it online. You had no author and what you do in these cases. Yeah. In many cases, when we have access to online information, we may have no authors there stated. Now, there is a debate there. The author can be considered as the organization itself.
Yeah, that's how I put it.
Yeah.
Ministry of blah blah blah, and but is it valid? Can I put it like that?
You have to do it like that because in the other case, you consider it as not valid. That's the issue.
So it's enough to put the And if it's a company,
the organization. Yes, you can put the company. Yeah, yeah. How it works, the Zotero? Okay. Okay, I will do it very fast. The most important thing for Zotero is a very good installation. And the installation, it has two phases. The phase where you install it in your computer as an application, and the add-on that you have to install into your browser in order to be able to extract the metadata information from internet. All the information necessary for the installation is in the website of Zotero. Now, in order to use it, I will go very fast with a demonstration. So in order to do that, you need a document, where in some places we're going to add citations. So the first part, it has to do with extracting the information. So Google Scholar is the important issue. Risk management strategies, and I end up with some material which looks interesting for me. Okay, flawed risk management strategies is the topic. On the top right area of my browser, depends on the browser that you are using, all of them are compatible. If you press this button, it will add this metadata information of this paper into Zotero. Now, in Zotero, you can create different folders here on the left side. So you can have different projects for different folders. The first thing that you have to do as soon as you start your study, you create one folder, my thesis, whatever. Because on the folder that you are is there where this citation will be added. So now I select Trifon, my folder, okay? In the browser, I click on the Zotero icon, and immediately I see on the top down, on the bottom right side that is adding the citation. If I go now to the software, I will see it, flawed risk management. Unfortunately, the font is very small. Can you see? Okay. And I see all the metadata information on the right side. If I disagree with some of them, I can go there and edit them. Volume 33, I don't know, maybe there is some mistake or some extra data that you don't want then in your citation. You can delete, you can add, you can do all these things here, because we said earlier that is manually, you can also manually affect it, change it. Okay, now all the information, I will do this many times for all the material. The good thing that Zotero is giving you is like you organize also your information. And if you consider that in a thesis you may use 30 or 35 citations, it's a lot to do it manually. So this will give you the access to all these things. You can even, in some cases that PDFs are available, save the PDF here. So as anytime you want to study or remember something that you want to use it in your study, you go there, you double click, you see the PDF, you read, and you go back. So it is generally a very nice tool that organizes your work. Now, how it goes, let's go, now you collect the information. Now let's go to the second phase where we put all this information inside Microsoft Word. Everything starts from the citations. So the important thing that you have to do during the time that you write your thesis is to make the inline citations correctly. So I was writing about an argument here that was related to this resource. So I will come here. As soon as you install Zotero in your computer, Microsoft Word will receive an extra add-on option which says Zotero here. And you need basically two buttons. The add citation, which is the biggest one because this is the important, and we will see the other one that creates the bibliography in a moment. So the only thing that you have to do the moment that you want to put the inline citation, you come here and you say add. The important thing is that the Zotero application has to be turned on in the same time. Both of them, they have to be active, okay? Because if Zotero was, let's say, closed, it will give me an error right now. It will tell me that I have no communication with your database. So both applications, they work. The first time that you add a citation, it will ask you what type of referencing style you would like to use. And in our case, we are using the Harvard. So Elsevier, Harvard is my selection here. Can you see it? Yes. So as soon as I say OK, it will not ask me again this question. But now I receive this list box where I can select that I would like, for me, the classic view, where it's giving you all your citation. What was the citation that I would like to use? The flawed risk management. Where is it? Here it is. So I click, I say OK, and immediately the citation is placed. What is this here? There were many authors. That's why it's using the correct way of referencing many authors, which means that the first author and et al. You say that there are, etc., other authors as well. Okay? And then you continue. You continue, and maybe you need another citation on another place, and you do the same thing. Add citation, view classic. You select, let's say, another study. Multinational risk assessment, okay. So here, he's doing it like that. Why? Because it's just one author. So mainly the Zotero will do the job correctly without many surprises. And this is how you, as soon as you finish your project, you have all your citations, you have to do two things. One thing, it is related to your table of contents. You remember? Yeah. We said that you leave this for the last. Table of contents, list of tables, list of figures, and so on. And then references. In order to do that, you go back to the Zotero option and you say insert bibliography. So I can come here and I will say references. This is obviously in a new page, okay? Yep. Try to have all your chapters starting from a new page, and references is a chapter. And I say insert bibliography, and immediately it added the.
If you cite manually, it won't add the bibliography.
It will come, yes. If you do it yes, it will come as well. No, excuse me. If you write this, you look. You see, when I click there, it becomes all of it gray. It is a special field. It's not. If you write it with your hands, it doesn't work. This is very important, yeah? Be careful. You either do it like this, or it doesn't work in another way. Yes, I can repeat what you would like. The last step, how I add the references. There is a button here, insert bibliography, in the same way that we said insert table of contents. You remember? The last step is always the easiest because you did the effort to keep all the information in the correct, with the correct template. So I click on the place that I would like to place this list, and then I go to Zotero, and the middle option over here, it says edit bibliography, insert bibliography. I click, and it's doing it automatically. Okay?
Why is Zotero not accepting PDF? Because it customized it, it doesn't accept to save PDF files.
To save the PDF files in Zotero. you need to make an account in the cloud to save some of them there, and the rest, because it's giving you a limited amount of size, you can save them in your computer. But you really need to have access to the PDF. If you don't have the PDF, it won't work. Because some PDF, yes, in this case you have to do it manually. Not for PDF in general, for PDF that you don't have. You have to find the PDF and then you add it manually. Because there are PDFs which are announced publicly, and Zotero finds it immediately and connect to it, and PDFs which are locked with some, for money or whatever, because it is a certain journal that would like to have you as to pay money in order to get the PDF. So you have access to a PDF that it doesn't come directly because, yes, because it is not announced in all these things, you have to do it manually. Okay? And everything manually is happening here, yeah? So you say add attachment, and you attach either URL or the copy of the file or whatever you like. This is, yes. So on the link that you have there, you add an attachment. This way you connect this sentence or this metadata information with a file. You can put only the things that you save in Zotero. That's why you first have to put.
But I can have lots of information saved in Zotero, but I didn't cite it.
Yes.
So it will not put everything.
No. It will put only the thing. You see, I have all these papers, but it put here only 2 because I cited only 2. Okay. Okay. So since Zotero saved our life in this situation, I don't want to go deeper. There are other tools that you can use as well. Cite this for me, but this mainly is helping you to do the citation. It's not that automatic like Zotero. You have to manually put the citations. What is the last part of a thesis? Appendices, perfect. Or, we call it with another name, annex. So why do we need appendices? Because in many cases we have a lot of information that we would like to put in our thesis, but we don't want it to count into the text, or it is a lot of information that if we add it into the text it will create confusion to the reader. So imagine that you have a very long study with many different charts. And your study, let's say, have 50 charts. If you put 50 charts into your text, you will end up with 25 pages at least, only in one chapter. So we already said that keep the size based on some rules that we gave. 10 pages, 5 pages, we were giving for every chapter. By the way, that's the most important thing for your master thesis in this book. Every time you would like to get any answer, you will find it in these slides there. Like the size, like the structure, and all these things. So, because it is not easy for you to remember it right now, but when you will need it, you will go through step by step. In this case, you don't want to throw away all these charts, because it is your work, you did it. And it is also impressive for the reader to understand that this material, you were able to do all these things. You can add this extra information into an annex. Even the questionnaire itself. Putting the questionnaire inside your thesis is not a good idea in general. Sometimes we do it in order to, let's say, achieve some more words in these 25,000 words that we have to write, but this is a mistake. Because if you want to focus on a certain question which is important, that is very, let's say, valid, you can do it. Put this question into your text. But the whole questionnaire, as it is structured from yourself, when you gave it to the people, to your sample, to those who answer your questionnaire, you have to put it in the annex, into the appendix, as an appendix, okay? So the appendix itself, it helps you to add all the information that you were not able to add it into your thesis, and it can also include some URLs that you would like to have there, and it can have graphs, some extra resources, and the structure, I don't have it here, but I have it into the study material. The appendices can be more than one. Okay, so if I have two appendices, one is the questionnaire, the second one is extra figures. How am I gonna do it? I have to do it with numbers. I will say appendix 1, appendix 2. No. I have to do it this way. Oh. You understand? So, you reference the appendices with letters of the alphabet, capital letters. A, this appendix, B, C, D. This is the way we do it.
So you just have one, you don't call it 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, you don't say it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You say A, B, C.
And when you adding it,
Because the chapters, it goes like 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. We explained the structure yesterday. Yes, please. It will look like that, yes. When you will see it in the table of contents, it will say appendices page 30, A questionnaire 30, B charts 35. It will be, and it will, that's a very good question. What is the heading level? Here, these are level 2. Appendices level 1, like a chapter, and then the appendices are level 2, like chapters, subsections. Clear? Any question? Okay, so, yes, please. Okay, now what I want you to do is all these things that we went very fast because it was theory, it is here in our study material. As a group, I want you to go step by step, and I want you to locate good practices, bad practices. You don't really have to go through and read the information there. Just, let's say, locate some areas and work over there. Work on the structure. If you have some things that you don't like, work on the subsections. And each group as you are, the moment you locate something, write it over there for us in order to discuss about it. So you will see that the questions are going chapter by chapter. So chapter 2, summary of literature review. You will go through it very fast with not all the details, but someone of the team will spot something. One benefit, one weakness, or one strong point. Write it over there. And then as a group, move to the next one. Okay? In the end, all of us, we will discuss the findings from each group, so in this way we will revise everything. Okay? So, put one writer on the board, on your flip chart. The rest of you start working heavily from chapter 2, page 37. It starts the literature review. Check. Do we follow the same structure that I gave you? What is the information that the Page 37. But don't try to read everything. It's impossible. We don't have the time to do such a thing. You can do this at home, of course, in your convenient time. Well, the master project is amazingly similar to a master thesis, but mainly it aims to a different subject, which usually is related to the business for us and to real status in companies and real products that maybe we would like to study further on and come up with some discussions and interpretations, basically. So the structure of the master project in the beginning is identical to the master thesis up to chapter 3, where in chapter 3 here we describe the current company situation. So instead of having the methodology, we describe the current company situation because we are dealing usually with one company. So we don't want to see in general what is happening. We want to see specifically what is happening in this case. And we analyze the data that we also find in this case. So we study and we analyze in the same chapter. The analysis of data, we have it with master thesis, but over there is more extended. And it is elaborated in a different chapter. Here we have all of them, both of them, in the same chapter. Chapter 4, it is similar to the master thesis of chapter 6, as far as I remember, because it has to do with the discussion and the interpretation of the findings. So, if we want to compare the master thesis with the master project, the difference is in the middle in reality, where here it is more simple because it is specific on a certain product or a certain company. Company, exactly.
A certain product or certain company. What about the literature review? I was not expecting literature review much in this.
Definitely the literature review is not that extended compared to a master thesis, but also this is like studying what is happening outside of the company as well. So the literature review can have things from other companies, what they do, or other practices which are applied related to the area that we study.
Suppose you have a problem in quality for a certain department in a company.
Okay.
So the literature will talk about the quality in general.
In general.
This particular industry, and then you.
And maybe to similar industries to what we are doing as well, and then maybe to other studies that the same industry did in the past, because maybe this is not the first study that we are doing in quality. It is, let's say, we do it every year, so we have as reference what was happening in the past as well.
You mentioned earlier on you will share the sources of literature.
Yes.
Yeah, just a reminder.
Okay, we could do it during the break. So let me continue here. And of course, after we set up the findings and the interpretation of the findings, we end up with a conclusion with implications and recommendation of the certain findings. So this is a completely identical chapter to the master thesis. Of course, we will have reference and bibliography. We will have appendices. Do you see list of tables, list of figures? Don't take it into account. I told you that this can come up here after the table of contents. An executive summary, maybe it is more appropriate here, but you can have any type of an abstract that you like. In front of you, you have some master projects, so you will have the time to go through and find out any other issue that you would like to discuss with me, and I can go around and discuss it with you. So, another topic, improving the quality of customer service of the company and the name of the company. Okay? So, this is a project. It is specified for a certain company. And you will see that it has the introduction, the summary of literature review, and then the current company situation analysis. Managerial analysis, strategies, target population, the sample criteria, but for this specific company. And then discussion and interpretation of the findings and the collected data, conclusions, and so on. You didn't have the chance, so just...
Can we take this as a master project, but not in this way? Involving of HR.
The role of evolving...
HR on the overall organization strategies. It is like a project how we can involve HR to...
Yeah, if you specify it for this company, so the study will not be extended outside of the limits of the company, it becomes directly a project, yes. Do you have any other question?
The topic shouldn't be in the capital letter, the first.
No.
No?
No.
Necessarily.
No, not necessarily.
And
Even better like that.
better like
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
And the full stop should be there?
Full stop, no.
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 But for
A full stop, it has no meaning for a title, yeah? For a title, maybe it would be better to have the capital letters for each word.
Yeah,
That's it. Yeah.
For all.
Not for all of them.
I mean
If he has
the
some,
back of this one,
not for off, for the others.
transfer,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everything.
yeah, 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 yeah. Not for end, not for off.
For the topics, is it?
Mhm.
Even for the topics?
The sections, no.
The title.
Maybe for the chapters, but not for the subsections. Yeah, no.
Executive summary. Normally we wouldn't have this, but for the
Yes, for the project you can have a executive summary.
So then, and then so you don't have the abstract. So the executive summary will replace the act.
Exactly.
And it should be about the same length, 300 pages or so.
It has to be 15,000. No, it's much less. It's 15,000 words.
No. Sorry, I'm talking about the executive summary.
They're the same. Yeah, one page. Yeah, one
Yeah,
page.
so you mentioned that, so 15,000 words. So then what that equates to, what, 50 pages?
The 30. Yeah, 30 pages.
30 pages.
Yeah, 35.
That's
Depends.
excluding-
Usually here you will have more charts and more things, so it will go again big enough. Yeah. Okay. I think it's is anyone who is interested in this room for a master project but he didn't have the chance to go through one of these documents that we have, one of these projects here? So if you are interested, please ask me and I will give you one example. So I will move now.
So the example that you're going to use is like, you can share that as a...
No, I have to ask about that. I'm not sure. I cannot promise you this. I will ask about it, but I cannot promise this. That's what I don't know. I have to ask about that. Yes, this is what he said. Okay, so now in front of you, definitely you have a business plan. So you are a group. Take the business plan in front of you, and what we're gonna do, we will go through the main units of a business plan, and I want you to spot this information in the business plan that you have in front of you. Okay? Now you will have to come a little bit closer because you have only one copy there per group. So what we're going to do, we have to follow a certain amount of units and information that we have to include inside a business plan. All the rules which are related to academic writing, they still apply here. But it goes more to the technical or it goes more to the practical solutions where you will have to look on the information that you reference there to be realistic. Okay, so you try to study exactly what is happening and think it like it is a real case that will be applied, or maybe it is already applied. So we start with a title, we start with a cover page. It is important. Don't forget about that. We can have literature review does not exist here, but you will have references and so on. So we start with a business plan summary, and can you go through very fast and tell me some titles of business plans that you have in front of you?
We have here some...
Loud enough. Yeah.
Steel prefab.
Okay.
Another one?
You have another one here?
Okay, so you shared this?
No, this is a thesis. Both of them are thesis. Okay. You have a business plan there, yeah? Okay. You have a business plan here as well? Okay, this one. So let me announce. So here we have a business plan which is related to tea and falafel fast food restaurant.
We need this.
Over here, maybe we're talking about big bucks, yeah?
Medical waste disposal. Saudi Arabia. Medical waste disposal.
Medical waste disposal. Very nice. What are the projects we have?
Is this a business plan? Master business plan for
corrugated seats, roof and wall panels. Okay? And your business plan?
Crepe and waffle factory.
Very good. In the same time, I have another one, but no, I don't. I will not use the projector for because I have some examples as well. But use the examples that you have in front of you. So, business plan summary. Do you locate it? What do we do in the business plan summary? We just give an introduction of the business that we are planning to set up. We have to spot and we have to describe the reasons of the success that we expect, and we have to briefly summarize the details that answer why we are planning to do or why we are planning to go for this business. So can you give me the business name of Team 6? Tea and Falafel Fast Food Restaurant. And what is the business name? Is the name? that they will use as a legal name for any exactly reference and so on. The business structure. What is the business structure in Team 2? Yeah. So it's a limited company, yeah? Did you manage to spot it? So if the rest of you spot it, then you can go, we can continue. Business location for Team 1. The business location. The industrial city. Where? Okay. All right. So, date of establishment. Do you have business plans for companies that they are already established? Probably, because these are old projects. Business owners. So let's work with Team 6, and I think that is better to have one example, so we don't ask everybody. Do you mind? It seems that the falafel company is something that all of us understand, so we can use this as a reference. Every time, everything that we ask there, you will answer it from there. Okay? So keep this book in front of you and... Yeah, sit down as well, don't worry. So who is the owner for the falafel company?
So, to make you hungry a bit, our business plan is about tea and falafel, and the business name is Tea and Falafel, and short name of T and F. Okay, so
so they have like a logo, yeah?
The business structure. The company is sole trader business.
Okay.
And the business location is in the main stores already hired and located at the intersection between Al Haramain Road and Mohammed bin Abdulaziz Road. The first restaurant branch also has been hired at Al Mohammediyya area on Al Medina Highway Road. Okay?
Okay.
So the date of it's established is the restaurant is established on September 2017.
Okay.
And the business owner is Mr. Ayman Muhammad Salim. Okay. Irrelevant? What do we need for? Yes, the owner experience. So owner is currently working as an area manager in a big construction company since 3 years ago. Also, he has a successful experience in his own business, food distribution company, in the west region of Saudi Arabia. So the products and services is mix between fast food restaurants and tea shop. We will focus on falafel as a food main item and on tea as a main drink. We will serve our products in an innovative way with many side dishes.
Okay, up to now, you have your business plan in front of you. Do you have anything additional to this? You see how this, let's say, this student stated all these things. Can you consider some better practices, or do you see in front of you something different? No. No? It's okay. So the first thing, it was fair enough. On the right side, we see something like a marking scheme, which means that these things are marked immediately as one as soon as they exist there. Okay? We don't mark if the idea is good or bad. We mark the structure, okay? If they exist and they are valid, let's say, reasonable to one to the other.
It's the same concept for the thesis of the project as well?
No, no. Over there it's a little more, it's different, okay? So, the next thing that we have to discuss about is the market. And there are sections like the target market, the market strategy, that we have to follow. Who are you planning to sell to? Why would they buy your product and services? So you have to put some arguments there. And the marketing strategy, How do you plan to enter into the market? How do you intend to attract the customer, and why this will do the job, why this will work? So let's see how the falafel company is trying to do it. These are small sections, so we can go through, but you have also in front of you your other projects. Yes?
While submitting this format, table.
Yes, this is also your table of contents, actually.
But when you fill up this table, is it enough to submit the...
No, you don't do it on a table. You do it as a document. As a document. Yes, not as a table.
Only a guidance.
This is a guidance. This is a marking rubric, yeah? One question needs to be answered. The question is, what is a master plan? I just go into this table and fill the gaps? No. Okay? A business plan is a full document like a master thesis, yeah? With cover page, with table of contents, with all the necessary information. And these are coming like chapters and sections. Clear? Very good. So please.
Okay, I'll go to the market now, target market. We will be selling our products and services to all ages, people preferring healthy food, employees, students, drivers, passengers. Our target is to have branches all over the world, and all our places has to be one of the following: airports or train terminals, highways with high flow of cars, big malls, and better to have outside access to get advantages from the running cars, inside universities and the crowded pedestrians areas like Mecca and Medina, beside the offices areas and big hospitals. So TNF, where food meets with the creativity, in which we serve tasty falafel in different flavors with a wide range of choices of fresh bread and various sauces, a special assortment of fresh vegetables and pickles.
Okay, that's not maybe the right project to discuss about at that time of the day, but any question?
Falafel is going international.
It's going international now with them. Yes, it will be mentioned, I expect. So the marketing strategy, you talk about this?
The marketing strategy.
Okay.
So due to the high demand on the chosen food, we plan to add new collections to the market and serving our market well. And with unbeatable quality at an acceptable price in a clean and friendly outlet, we will be the talk of the people. This is an entrepreneur business in Jeddah, the KSA, so the first thing we have to focus on during this 6 months period is to have a registration for our company. The general manager during the next 6 months, his target is to select and build the good staff. And we will start trying new sauce and new falafel flavor, which will be used in the trial period.
So, do you like this text for the marketing strategy?
No.
Is the marketing strategy related to that, yes, I will make something very tasty to sell? No. So this is a mistake, actually. So it had to be related to marketing strategy. How are you planning to, you don't say that I will make a very nice product, it will sell by itself. Okay, you can do this as well, but how are you going to promote this? So maybe do we have anyone else with a better marketing? So you have to mention, yes. Okay.
For the future.
About the future now. So we have one thing that we have to talk about is the vision statement. Okay, what we see in the future for this business to happen. Yes,
This vision is to be the leading in falafel business, to have something new in any new branch, to be global, to open many related business, to have franchise, and to enter KSA stock markets.
Okay. So the vision looks interesting, yeah? It seems that they want to make something that will grow bigger, and it can go even global, yeah? And what are the goals and the objectives now? What are your short and long-term goals? What activities will you undertake to meet them?
Well, after 10 years, our goal is to have 10 branches around Gulf area. After 2 years, we'll have new branch in Dubai and we'll open the first related business. 2, beginning of the 3rd year, we'll open new branches in Qatar, new Jeddah Airport, Jeddah Train Terminal, and new Abu Dhabi International Airport. 3, at the 4th year, we will have the first branch in Riyadh, Mecca, and Medina. After 5 years, After 5 years, our goal is to have 7 branches of the related business and to start franchising. So he's going out of KSA and then coming back to it?
Yeah.
Then Riyadh.
Yes, maybe.
Not consider Bahrain.
Okay, we will not judge them based on. Okay. But this can happen because it has to do with the market that they are looking for. Yeah. So
there is no short-term goals. All are long-term goals, more than 2 years. For example, short-term like establishing the brand, getting awareness about his products, these kind of
feedback and so on.
In 1 year.
Okay. First of all, did we understand the difference between the vision and the goals? What is the difference? The vision is more general and it can have any extent from the size of time and let's say magnitude of the company. The goals has to be specific. But a very good remark, we are not talking only about long-term goals. We have to specify some short-term goals that have to do with the basic things that you expect from the company itself, not only related to the expansion of the company, but related to the operation of the company itself.
For example, establishing long-term with the suppliers, getting the best ingredient, best prices, this all could be short-term.
It can be short-term, exactly. Yes, please?
We have the crepe and waffle, and their vision is to be first place come on mind when families and friend visitors and street lovers are planning to enjoy eating crepe and waffle. Is that a good vision statement?
No, it had to be a little bit. It is not only the vision how you want to help somebody or what your company will offer, but you have to state the vision of how you would like to have this company expand as well. Yeah. So you want to see the future of the company and discuss about it. Yeah, it is okay, but it's very limited. He had to support it with more things. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Have a safe trip. Yeah. Okay. What about the finance now? We have to outline how much profit we intend to make, how much money we will need upfront to invest, where we will obtain these funds. So you can consider of answering each question like that, but you can add some more information as well. What this company is planning to do?
Okay.
Yeah.
So the finances. The owner, Ayman Al-Nahdi, will invest $700,000. We will be able to start with 1 restaurant at the beginning. By the first 5 years, all return of investments will be used for the expansion of business by adding branches to be able to reach 10 restaurants as a total by the end of 10th year. At the end of the 10th year, we expected to have yearly gross profit of $15 million, and 80% will be given for the partners and the balance 20% will be invested on the expansion.
Okay.
But he doesn't have partners in first place.
Now, be careful. Be careful. Where is the bits and tricks in a business plan? All the information that you have there is related one to the other. So if in your vision you say I would like to have 30 branches in the next 10 years, and you come there in the finance and you say that I will finance 10 branches, the other 20, they will not come from the sky. Okay? Which means that the information which is coming in a business plan, it's auto-related, yeah? So you have to understand that you don't try to impress somebody in the beginning of the document and suddenly, as soon as you realize what is the money about, you are just diminishing your goals. So be careful with the relation. Also, you said, okay, where are the partners? We said, okay, there were two actually, but maybe one is giving.
So the name is to tea and falafel, but the sole ownership.
All right. Okay. All right.
So partner, maybe his wife, he and his wife.
Maybe in future, yani.
He and his wife.
They can put some franchising there. They said anything about franchising?
Well, yeah, they said something about that.
All right. So maybe it's coming from that. Okay. So now let's talk about the business. Products and services. What products and services are you selling? What is the anticipated demand for your products and services? What do they say?
They say tea and falafel is mixed between fast food restaurants and tea shop. We will focus on falafel as a food main item and on tea as a main drink. We will serve our products in an innovative way with many side dishes. I think this is repetitive. I've read this before.
Yes, he was writing this in the summary in the beginning. It can, I mean.
We will have two main items, falafel and tea. Falafel, meaning we will be catering service with 4 flavors at the beginning and four types of breads, and it will be sandwiches or meals. He wrote 4 with the spelling of F-O-R. 4 types, number 4.
Okay, spelling mistakes, yeah?
Tea will be in more than 20 flavors in both hot and cold drinks. 20. In addition to the above 2 items, we'll have also falafel minis, salads, menaqish, za'atar, and cheese.
Okay, you don't really have any limitation on the size of the things that you're going to present there. But if you consider that it's something very big, you can have also an annex here where you, in the end, like, for example, we were discussing about the, what is this, the relevance and the experience of the owner. So you can put there a CV from the owner if you consider it as interesting, but not there. You can use something like an annex in the end where, and you can reference it here that in the annex we have the CV. You can have sort of a short summary there and more details later on.
In the same place, he just describes the falafel and tea.
Okay.
With paragraphs.
So what is the anticipated demand?
I think he did not mention that. He just described the falafel and tea.
Okay. So this is missing, all right? 1 point minus. It is also very important, yeah? It will come back later on. We discuss about these things later on, but here it has to be mentioned as well. Okay, registration details, business name, trading names.
So the business name here is Tea and Falafel. Trading name is Tea and Falafel Fast Food Restaurant, and another Arabic version of the same.
One moment. Do you know the difference between the business name and the trading name?
Yes. The trade is a trademark.
The business is the company owning that, but the trading name is
registered.
Sorry, the business name is the brand or what you know, the official. The trading name is the company that has.
It's exactly the opposite. Okay? So, business name is the official name for the authorities or whatever you put on any official paper that any deals or whatever you have. The trade is what you put on the label outside of your shop. So McDonald's, that's the trading name. But McDonald's Corporation, I don't know what, that's the business name. Okay? Is it clear? Because I think they have it in a fancy way there. Or not?
The business name is actually just Tea and Falafel. He did not write anything.
So the business name is usually longer. It is also describing exactly what is about, yeah? And If you want to have, let's say, T&F, like a trade name, and you can have maybe more than one trading names as well, you can put that over there. So I think they have it a little bit upside down. Okay, be careful, because this is a common mistake that is happening. Okay?
So then he mentioned the date registered and the location, business structure, the company is sole trader business, and then the domain names. What is the domain names exactly?
It has to do actually with the websites they're going to use.
So we have a website at E and Falafel.
Yeah. You don't have to say at. It is related to email. Usually now if the company will have a website, you can have just the name and .com, Bahrain, say, whatever. So without the www in front.
So this is the domain name?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
something.com, the website?
Exactly. Yeah. Now the domain name, it will be also the name of the emails. There's going to be a set of things that is there, but okay. And then license and permits in case of food industry, where these things are also pretty important. I think there must be some information in the end of the business plan. Yeah. Or
He said see figure 1 and 2. But I can't see any.
Okay.
Here and there.
All right. So, nice mistake. We reference on something that in order to find it, it will take time. So you can say that I have an appendix in the end. So you go to the appendix and find figure 1 and 2. Okay? Any question? Do you have similar things? All the time, as we go through this, the business plans which are in front of you, you also spot the same information. If you see any mistake or anything different, you can also take the opportunity to discuss and mention that. Okay?
The header, does it need to be mentioning something specific? The header of the page, like here.
The logo and the header. So,
Here?
Yeah. Is there any preference for that?
With business plans, they try to do it, but I would consider it not for a master business plan. Yeah, keep it formal. Keep it formal. Don't. I mean, in a business plan, maybe you will put a lot of pictures and things like that. But this is not just a business plan; it's a master business plan. So keep it formal.
Do you need to prepare a logo for?
No. But if you want to do it just for, or you have something, do it.
The font and all this should be same as the font and the.
Yes, use the same fonts. Yeah, the same fonts with the business. This is, and also be constant. Don't have something with small. Don't change the font size. Keep it. We mentioned it very well. Keep it formal, like a formal technical document that will be submitted to a reviewer. It's not just a business plan to make money. It's a business plan that will get grades, and it's going to be a master business plan. So keep it formal based on the rules that we discussed these 2 days. Nice. Registration details, we finished them. Business premises, business location. So what we have there?
So he describes where is the main office.
Okay.
And that is the total area of the ground floor, and including the kitchen and the single hall.
Okay.
And he states the advantages of the location, the branch location. And they are in front of a highly traffic highway. And good prices.
Now, if you really want to make this even better and you have the information, you can include here even an architectural plan, yeah, of the area that you will use. And you can have all this information in the end with nice references from this side. You can have a Google Map picture to locate it. It's a good thing not to put too many of these pictures inside the text, but if it is just a small thing, do it over there. Any comments from the other? Okay.
So it's a good thing to state the advantages of the education? Is it related?
Yes.
From a marketing strategy, it has to make sense.
You could also mention it there, yeah, because this is also very important for that thing. Now let's go to the next section. It has anything else there?
Buy and lease.
Yeah.
So our premise has been rented with a budgeted rental cost of 250,000 SAR per annum and a total SQM of 180 approximately. So there he was stating in dollars the
Yes.
and now he's using Saudi Arabia Riyal.
Okay, you have to use a constant numbering or constant currency throughout the whole document. If this is not possible and you really have to mention something in one, you have to put the conversion as well, so in order to be consistent. Good, very good. Very good comment. Organization chart, hierarchy. Do you know what is this? Yeah, a hierarchy chart. In order to do this, you can do it with Microsoft Word, but there are also special software that they can help you. If you, maybe with Microsoft Word is a little bit more difficult. It's not what is best, it's what is in front of you or the easiest to locate. I'm using Smart Draw.
Smart Draw?
Yeah. Visio is also very good. Yes, yes. Visio is also special. Yeah. Smart Draw. Smart Draw. Like I'm drawing, yeah. And Microsoft Visio also is great. Okay, let's go management and ownership. The names of the owners, details of the management and the ownership, and the experience.
Sorry.
Yes.
So when you're doing like things like the org chart, is it best to part of them?
Some things that I normally do is I do a screenshot of them and I add it in rather than copying and pasting it. So what would be the best?
You are talking about the chart?
Yes, yes.
How to present it.
Like the
Yeah,
chart
how to
design.
present the chart, the organizational chart. If you make a copy paste, if you want to make the organizational chart and you make a copy paste of a picture, the danger there is that the size of the picture that you put there is either bigger or smaller. So if you start resizing a picture, the font of the text which is in there, it may be affected. So the best thing is to take a live copy paste of this material. That's why Microsoft Visio is very good in this case, because it is a Microsoft application and they communicate. But also the Smart Draw,
You wouldn't recommend doing a screen capture and pasting it?
and paste it especially for this one, I would say no, because the text which is inside is the important, and maybe you would like to zoom on the text, yeah?
Like for other pictures and stuff like that?
For anything else, yes, why not? Now, if you are concerned about the quality of the images that you put both in your thesis and so on, try to save the pictures with the extension .png. Okay? .png pictures, they don't lose the quality like the JPEG pictures, yeah? So if you have the choice to select the format of the picture, if you use .png, it will not lose quality as you copy paste and as you move this picture from here to there. If you have, if you don't, you don't. Okay. Next, any other question? We mentioned the location. For the location, you can have, as somebody already mentioned, you can even have a Google Map picture and more details about that. Even parking lots and other issues which are important for a company. And we finished that. So management and ownership, yeah? The names of the owners and the details of the management and ownership. What we have on this regard? Okay, let's go to this one.
So the name of the owners, he mentions his name, Mr. Ayman al-Nahdi, and then that he assigned another owner. The owner assigned Mr. Mahmoud Badawna as a general manager, and he states the responsibilities of both. So this is what he
mentioned. Okay. Do they have some parts and some percentages of ownership and so on?
Nothing. No, there is no partnership in this. He's just the owner and
okay,
the
so
general manager.
All right, so this is in 100%. There is no point of mentioning these things. Regarding the experience, how do they present it?
Nothing about experience. Okay, later on, let's say, yeah. Details of management, as shown in the organization chart, the main partner, he's not a partner. The main partner, Ayman al-Nahdi, will be the owner, and Mahmoud will be responsible for the management and stuff. Experience, the general manager has extensive experience fast food restaurants in Saudi Arabia for more than 10 years. It's, he said something else in the abstract. Okay, and Mahmoud Badawna will be responsible. Also has a successful experience in his own business in West region of Saudi Arabia. That's the experience that he states.
Okay, so the owner has other business as well, and the experience from that business, it can be considered as the experience for the new one. Although we would like to look forward things which are related to the business that he is doing, but this is supported from his manager. Okay, what about the key personnel? What we do there? You see, it says current staff table, job title, name, expected staff, turnover, strengths, and so on. So we have to put up there a table with all this information. Is there something like that there?
There is key personnel, current staff.
Yes, that's it. That's exactly. Do you have, in your business plans, do you have similar things?
So he has a table with job title and name, expected staff turnover, and strengths of each employee.
Tell us a couple of...
So he has a general manager, restaurant manager, purchase manager, chef, kitchen, bakery, waiter, barman, cashier, cleaner, dishwasher, and driver.
All right.
And he requires administrator, food preparation associate, a waiter, kitchen manager, accountant, and he mentions the quantity of these staff.
How many?
How many he needs.
So the next thing that we have to discuss is the recruitment options. Where are we going to find all these people?
Okay, so for administrator, we'll deal with recruitment agencies for hiring them.
Okay, so he will use agencies.
For others, we'll put an advertisement in local pairs for hiring them. So that's what he mentions.
Any other ideas from your side?
Networking.
Yeah, social media.
Social media.
Okay, social media, LinkedIn and so on. Okay, very good. And training programs, what we will discuss about it.
As as mentioned above, will give, he did not mention anything. As mentioned above, will give the restaurant manager a training from 12 to 16 weeks, and then he will be responsible for implementing the training for other staff on a weekly basis whenever it's required. On the weekly report, the manager will mention the name of the employees required to get training in the next week. For administrator will give him the following training after the joining immediately. 1. Secretary training course. 2. Business software training. 3. Cleaning and support service training. For food preparation associates and others will give them training course in cleaning and support service immediately after the joining.
Okay, very nice, very detailed explanation. Anything that you would like to comment?
Next is skill retention strategies.
Yes, skill retention strategies.
So skill retention is generally an output of the good quality in all management areas in the company, but the main things which have direct impact in the skill retentions are the following. So he talks about training and he describes it, and then incentive system, and then audit.
The responsibilities as well.
Semi-annual evaluation. I don't understand
Well,
what's
It's like evaluating your people.
yes. Which ways that you are planning to use in order to evaluate the work from the people that. So he will use some KPIs as well, or.
Yes, he does market investigation, he says.
Okay.
So, from time to time, we are checking the salary scale and the market mainly with our competitor. Accordingly, we consider this along with the semi-annual evaluation to approve the annual increments for our staff, which not affecting our net profit margin.
Why this is necessary? Because we have to be careful. The people that we have to make sure that as soon as they do their job, they have to stay with us because they are very well trained and all the other issues which are important. So we have to be prepared, and that's why we mention it there. It has something like a table there as well. What about the other business plans? Did you find any of the business plans that you have in front of you that they don't follow these steps? Okay, so products and services, market position, unique selling position, anticipated demand. So in the market position, where do your products and services fit in the market? Are they high-end, competitive, or budget? How does this compare to your competitors? What do we have to say for the falafel company?
Falafel says consumer believe that local and Arabic food are tastier than the Western food. However, the Arabic restaurants rarely expanded outside their origin countries or have franchising for others. Tea and falafel will be positioned as the premier traditional Arabic fast food.
Thank you very much.
With a tea shop in an innovative way, a responsible price, high quality of food, and good services.
Okay, so they would like to expand their marketing position even outside the borders, and very nice, interesting, very well explained. Unique selling position.
Unique selling position for tea and falafel will offer traditional Arabic fast food falafel in an innovative way, which can be summarized in providing new falafel flavors and wide selection of our main bread.
So what is the uniqueness here? Actually, is the combination. Yeah. Do we have it anyway?
It will be unique in different breads. Also, the sandwich will be filled by the customer based on the selection from the salad bar and sauces.
Okay, so he's, let's say, describing the products, what they will give and what is the benefit or what is the important thing from these products.
Make your own sandwich.
Okay. Can we go a little bit faster so we go to the anticipated demand?
Anticipated demand, the anticipated quantity for the customers purchasing in such a restaurant have a wide range of differ from one competitor to another. Also, it doesn't have a daily fixed rate at the same restaurant from our survey and expert experience. We can conclude the factors which have direct effect on anticipated demand as follows.
Okay, so do we have some charts there that they support it? Usually from the other business plans that you have in front of you, do they support this with some charts? It's nice because this has to do with numbers. As soon as you realize that you have to deal with numbers, using charts is the best for you. So for example, how much it will be the individual customer buying in 6 months, in 12 months, maybe a little bit more. So you can have a chart based on the time and the anticipated demand.
He mentioned here the school timing, seasons, mid-semesters and final exam, weekdays, holiday, Ramadan, Hajj period.
Seasonality.
Okay, seasonality. Very good. That's very nice. So he's doing it as a paragraph, although he could use a nice chart there in order to make it more descriptive. Very good. Next, pricing strategy.
Pricing strategy, restaurant expenses can be classified into two main groups as follows. Cost of goods, the cost of everything given to the customer from food, beverages and packaging, and the running cost, okay, he's mentioning the running cost as and breaking it down to wages, electrical power, rental, rate, insurance, cleaning material, and etc. Our pricing strategy considers two main things: cost of goods, competitor pricing. And he's mentioning the resources cost as human resources. Okay.
Okay. And he has a break-even maybe chart?
No charts.
Okay.
This guy is fan of paragraphs.
Of paragraphs. All right. Okay, in this case, we are expecting to see prices. If you don't really have let's say the ability to calculate it now, you can give some levels or some of your intentions. So you can say, for example, the prices are going to be less than the medium market prices. So we more or less have these numbers in order to use them later on.
There's no need to put more detail. For example, how you will have.
You can, yes, the best thing is to have a table. Yeah, it was a good thing that he started discussing about the costs, because usually the costs can also give you, let's say, an understanding what you're going to do with the prices. And that's why I asked maybe he could end up with a break-even chart and where is the costs will meet the income from the prices that they have there. Okay, value to the customer. It's how do your customer view your products and services. So what we expect from that thing. Is this product that you have there a necessity, a luxury, or something in between? This is important as well. So what we say about the falafel, what we expect?
Okay, I will read what's there in the plan itself.
Yeah.
As mentioned above, we selected one of the most famous Arabic food, falafel, and we serve it in the best ever conditions to brand it and to franchise it later on. This bold idea and out of the box at the same time will argue the curiosity of many people to try it at least once. The other values, when they reach to our stores, they will touch our difference from others, especially in fresh breads, different and falafel flavors, different sauces, pickles, and he didn't categorize.
Okay, yeah, he concentrates on the quality, obviously, which is a good thing. but we can also define, let's say, the level of necessity of such products in order to expect what is the need from the side of the customer. So what is the value of to the customer? The growth potentials, what is the anticipated percentage of growth of the product in the future? What will drive this growth? Now, be careful here. The growth that you expect here, it has to come in relation to the visions and the expansion plans that you had and so on. So if don't consider it as related things, because if you start saying here other types of growths that they cannot go together with your plans or your visions, it is also a problem. I would say that the difficulty in the business plan is to have a nice content which is for the same thing, that match one to the other, because the document itself can contradict, and the contradiction is a business plan is the worst part, because it's a plan. And if the plan has a mistake, it collapses. Exactly. Okay. Let's go a little bit faster about the innovation, R&D, research and development activities, intellectual property strategy, if there is any, what we apply there. I expect that they will have what they say the nice taste.
Yeah, he said
they will concentrate
on the falafel flavor, sauces, and non-stays, and he will do research on if there is any competitors and the side dishes which will be served with the falafel and appetizer. So he will try to improve at that.
Okay, and do they have anything related to intellectual property strategy?
I don't think so.
Yes.
How are they gonna secure their recipes?
Yes. Registration shall be applied for the following countries before the first branch opening. All Gulf countries, GCC, Jordan, Egypt, Turkey, Europe, UK, US, and Canada. UK around $1 million.
Based on my experience, that would cost him millions.
Yeah. If he wants to do this all around the world, maybe.
More than his capital.
It's very expensive, yeah?
More than his capital.
It's very expensive if you try to do these things.
Oh, and the rest is continue China.
Yeah, what you mentioned is a little bit exaggerated.
Yeah.
An actual business plan, are we just putting this for the sake of filling the gap? Or you want something?
Very nice question. Very nice question. So what are we doing? We write a document that we try to impress somebody with the money that we have or the vision that we have in front of us, or we try to put up something realistic and that can be implemented. That's the second case, yeah? Don't try to put things there which are not true or they cannot be applied because it seems that you are making a plan which is not feasible. So it's not a good business plan after all, okay? Very good remark. Okay, about insurance.
Insurance, as per the local law, we are only required to provide medical insurance to our employees. LSM from Ta'awuniya will be provided to all employees which has the following beneficiaries.
Very good. Public liability.
Public liability not applicable. Professional indemnity not applicable. Product liability we will not have an insurance.
And if the oil is burned, you will pay all the money.
Okay.
Yeah, but this public liability. If his shop was burned.
No, he will take business assets insurance only.
Public liability may be poisoning, yes.
It can be related to the customers, but it can be also the problems that can come from the...
I think here refers to the assets equity.
No, public liability should be For example, if he has a shop, everything that is damaged next to him because of his incident. Building, I don't know, car.
The customer, because of a step there, he slips and he falls down. What is happening in this case? Food poisoning, because it has to do with food, it's also very...
Yeah, these are close.
This company is sole partner, not the WLL. So liability could reach to his home, his assets.
Exactly. Exactly, in this case, directly. So it's missing, actually. It's not that it's not applicable. Very good. And product liability, as you said, with poisoning and problems that can come from the product itself. Okay. Business assets from the side of innovation and business revenue. We have to provide detail if you have insure your business assets related to fire, burglary, and so on. What they do on this regard?
These will be provided insurance from the Aonia company.
Okay.
And will select Shamil policy which has following benefits.
Very good. Yeah, it's fixed. It's there.
He should say the insurance company, or he should say what he is doing as to cover this area as insurance. So it's correct to say the company name.
It's not a problem to mention the company itself, but what is coming from this company as benefits, it is a good thing to give a detailed description of what the company covers. And
so he need to say, for example, how much total loss, like amount is covered, or
in some cases there are fixed numbers, which is, let's say, not always. Yeah.
Before the liability, you should put a number, for example, or on the business revenue, for example, here you should put a number.
You can have a number as well. Yes, I agree. I agree. How much is going to be? It doesn't have that, right? You see, we always say a business plan is easier, but it's not easier because it has less text. It's just a chart where you see in time when you will meet the cost, when it will meet the revenue.
Yeah.
Exactly. You will have to expect that you will use the Harvard referencing, so you will get a mark about that, and you will have a nice the formatting. It will be a mark about the formatting, and to be consistent on the material, keep a nice, very easy rule. Let's say, use the same rules that we explained with the master thesis, and be serious, let's say. Okay, so that was it for the business plan. Do you have any questions? Okay. One final remark that we already, yes.
Pictures, for example, whenever you are putting, I don't know, maybe for the product, in the section on the product.
Okay.
If I want to put picture of the business or something, I can put it there.
You can put pictures. Yes, you can put pictures inside the document, but suddenly you see that you're going to have 20 different products. Don't put 20 pictures there. Use an appendix for this one and make clear to the reader that the rest of it is in the appendix. Okay, with nice referencing and so on.
To have some nice.
Okay. I repeat that the Marconi University, for the Marconi University, we apply all the rules which are related to a master thesis only. Okay? As a conclusion, thank you very much. Have a very nice afternoon.
Thank you.
And that's very helpful. Any pictures? Any questions? Yes, I appreciate. Yeah.
Graduate will not see you again.
Yeah. I will be very happy to.